Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Well, we're getting a few people, got quite a big group today, which is excellent. Just let a few more in.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi, Rachy. Nice to see you. Oh, look at you in Spain.
Sorry.
Yes, thank you. It's lovely here. It's lovely here in London too.
Lovely. I thought I'd unmute just as a difference to
yeah, thank you.
And good afternoon from a gloomy Crail.
Is it gloomy Scotland? Sunny Seville? Although it's not Seville, is it? It's sunny Spain, sunny España.
Valencia.
Valencia. Right, I'm going to put you all on mute now. Put you all on mute. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining another Lunch and Learn, another Friday Lunch and Learn. I'm loving these sessions, finding out about people. I want to thank Tracy actually for jumping in at the last minute. Barbara unfortunately couldn't do today. Something came up which she literally couldn't get out of, but Barbara's session will be next week. So it'll be the same time next week if you want to jump in and watch Barbara's session. But today I'm joined by one of my new friends and colleagues who I met. I was just thinking, so Tracy and I have only ever met via Zoom. So we've worked together a lot, and I feel I know her really, really well. But it's one of those new Zoom contacts. So when we meet in person at some time, that'll be excellent, so hopefully very soon. So Tracy Jane Sullivan, she's a singer-songwriter, fascinating lady, singer-songwriter, breath worker, breath coach. I know she's very geeky into her breath. We can spend hours and hours talking about breath work. So she'll talk a lot about her breath work. And also improvisational harpist. So that's an interesting thing that we're really going to explore a little bit more. And for those of you who've been joining the workshop or the classes on a Thursday and a Tuesday morning, you know we've been working quite a bit on sound and voice and vocalization. So this is just taking it that one step further in the fact that we're going to have some live harp music, and Tracy's going to give us a guided breath practice at the end of the session with some live harp music. If you have any questions during our chat, then feel free to post them in the little chat box there, and then I can read those out when it's appropriate. And at the end of the session, we will do some Q&As as well. If you want, we can then do, anybody wants to do it live and just raise their virtual hand. We were looking for it a minute ago and it's disappeared, but it's now in the reaction box at the bottom. So we do some question and answers then. Right, I've spoken enough. Let me hand you over to Tracy. Breath worker, breath coach, harpist, singer-songwriter. The first question I would like to ask you is, what came first?
Ooh, okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in from all over the world, it sounds like. So to answer your question, Greg, what came first? The singing. So I come from a Scottish family. You wouldn't know it from the accent, I know. Scottish family where every hogmanay, everyone, including the dog, was encouraged to sing a song a cappella to entertain the family, the good old days, and we would record it on a tape. Remember those things? So I grew up from an early age, always singing, writing poetry, writing songs, and then later on, it was actually much later in my early 20s that I started playing the guitar, singing, songwriting, joining bands, and traveling around the world and performing. So yeah, singing was the first thing.
So the interest, traveling around the world, whereabouts were
you? One of the places I did a lot of stuff was out in Qatar, so out in the Middle East. I was out there with 20 other artists performing on a 7-star, apparently I didn't know there was such a thing, a 7-star resort for 6 months. So we're performing music every day to all the visitors, and it was a beautiful time of collaboration and amazing to check out a different culture, and yeah, beautiful time. And then Australia, and then France, New Zealand, just different places. And my music's taken me, Spain. Yeah.
And what sort of type of music were you?
Oh gosh,
Exploring, playing, what styles and
styles wise. So I started off playing folk music. That was my main thing. I used to make a lot of music that made people cry. I had that real melancholic side, but after a while you're like, you know, oh no, someone's crying again, you know, it's all very touching. But I was like, really, I want to make people laugh. And so I started going into a bit of kind of comedy stuff. Then I also got into blues, then jazz, reggae and dub reggae. So I toured with one of the world's biggest dub reggae producers. Again, lots of different countries around the world and festivals. And I think I've done a bit of punk at one point as well. That was interesting. And then I think probably every genre, and funk and soul. That's like funk and soul and dance music. Every genre probably apart from death metal.
right.
So I think I've gone for, and it's always been this thing throughout my career where people have tried to pigeonhole me and go, well what are you? Or let's just do a folk album, or just do a blues album. And why has your album got all these different genres? And it's like, that's how I express myself. I don't want to be put in a box. You know, some days, you know, I'll have a good cry. Other days I'm having a good crack, you know. Other days, you know, I'm funky and I'm sassy. And that's what I want to, you know, explore through my music. You know, we have all these, you know, hundreds of different sides and moods, and so I want to be able to share those with people, and you can fluctuate between them during the day. So, you know, my last album that I did was actually quite a while ago because I've been working with a band now, but my last solo album after I came back from the Middle East was a real genre, or you know, different genres, from kind of, you know, almost klezmer type sounding to slightly Latin to pop to country. So, you know, these songs kind of fall out of me, really. I don't really choose them, they kind of channel on through. So it's about allowing, a bit like with the breath, allowing the music to come out and entertain people. But, you know, entertain myself first, because if I'm having a good time, then, you know, hopefully others are going to be having a good time as well.
Yeah, I like that. And that, like you say, is that you can be so pigeonholed and I only play this type of music, or I only like that type of music. But I think as we've talked before about this, is music is just sound, and it's the different sounds, different moods. And like you say, again, it's really nice how that ties in with the breath work as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
How did the breath work come about? When did you find an interest? I always like to say, when did you start breathing? But when did you find an interest in
relatively recently, and it was probably about a couple of years ago. And what happened was, so, you know, I've been singing and songwriting, playing with different bands, gigging musicians solo and with other bands. And I ran into problems with my voice. And I had a chronic problem really for about 10 years, which wasn't really getting addressed. And I went into quite a massive denial about it at the time. And I really couldn't sing properly. I couldn't express myself. The sound that came out of my mouth just wasn't, I didn't recognize it. It didn't resonate in my body. I didn't have that joy of singing anymore, which is interesting when I started turning to the harp. And then through some very fortunate circumstances, I met one of the top vocal coaches called Kim Chandler, who's based out in Spain. And after a very emotional call, she said, look, I really feel we can get your voice back on track. You know, I'm medically aware, I'm not medically trained, but I'm medically aware, and I really think there's something we can do about this. And I was very kindly given some funding by an amazing charity, Help Musicians UK, do wonderful work, the kindest, most beautiful people. And they funded me to go to the top ENT people, the top vocal rehab guy, Dane Chalfin, and then for the kind of rehabilitation, then Kim for the habilitation side of it. And they got my voice back on track. Now, it was then when I went up to Dane up in London, Edgware Road, I remember lying there one day and he was like, I can't do his voice very well, but I'm going to do a really bad impression. But he's like, honey, if you think you just paid £100 to come and learn how to breathe, then you're correct. And I was like, yeah, I was kind of perplexed because it was getting back to this simplicity, and I was nearly crying at some point because he's going, okay, I want you to breathe into your diaphragm and not your chest. And I was going, and I was really proud I was doing it. He said, honey, you're not doing it. I was saying, I am doing it, Dane. I was going, honey, I can see your chest moving from space. And I literally started crying. I was like, I can't even breathe properly to support my voice. And as Dane was explaining to me, he was saying all these words about support to do my breath, connection. And something twigged in me. And I remember lying there, and I've got friends that that were doing breath work with sporting individuals, also in Tantra. And so suddenly it came to me, I was thinking, breath. Oh yeah, it's quite important, isn't it? I wonder if there's such a thing as a breath practitioner. Wouldn't that be amazing to teach people about the breath in lots of different areas? Because I'm sure it's super important, because this guy's telling me it is for £100 an hour. It's like the charity were very fortunately paying for me. But there's this basic building block about supporting your voice and, supporting really, your physiology, which it comes to, supporting your emotions, supporting your relationships. It's super important. So it was at that point that I started looking into the power of the breath and the kind of scope of it.
And you've worked with some of the best breath workers out there, haven't you? So what are some of the experiences that you've had with guys like Dan Brule and Patrick, working with Patrick?
Yeah, it's super interesting because I'm sure you guys are aware, it's such a big field. Mostly when I say, I do breath work, I teach breath work, people now go, oh, you do Wim Hof? Because of course there's still not a huge amount of awareness about the different types and different intentions. And I'm like, okay, well, Wim Hof is one thing, and the breath work's really, it's an art and it's a science, and it's about merging those two together. And I didn't actually start, but one of my main teachers is a guy called Dan Brule, who's running the Breathing Festival. It's an online festival, actually, in February. I really urge you to get a ticket. It's amazing, top-notch people there. And he was the one who really opened me up to, the real art of it. And it's not just the science. For instance, I really love, Patrick. We've trained with Patrick, the Oxygen Advantage instructor. Patrick is absolutely on the science, and that appeals to the geeky part of me. But as myself and Gray were talking about, we're not just robots, we're not just physiology. There is no doubt physiology. If you do certain things, your body will have certain reactions, but we have intentions and we have emotions. And if you do a certain thing in a certain motion or breath in a relaxed way, you're going to get a totally different totally different result than if you do it in a really angry way. Our emotions affect our heart. That is scientific. The science is out there to show that how our emotions affect our heart affects our breath rate, our lungs affect our heart, affect our brain. Everything's interconnected. But learning the art, Dan Brule can talk to you for probably 2 hours just about an inhale. In the most poetic, he could get you just to concentrate on your inhale for 2 hours, and you would be transported in the most incredible journey. And whereas most people, when like myself, when I just started, I was like, well, it's just breathing in, isn't it? Just an inhale. I don't feel anything, but it's developing a relationship with your breath. And maybe some of us might relate to that more if I talk about wine. This is one of my favourite analogies. So, when I was 14, started drinking red wine with my friends down the beach. Parents didn't know. And we were drinking really rubbish, $2.99 Bulgarian red. Awful stuff. Probably never recovered from that experience. And then as we get older, like my best friend in Paris, her husband's a sommelier. We go there, we have different wines with different causes and most exquisite wines you can imagine, and they have a much more appreciation for it than I do, but that's because their palate has developed in such a way that she and her husband can now taste and experience those textures and different shades, and because they've developed that artistry and that relationship with the wine. But if I gave her or him a $2.99 bottle of Bulgarian red we drank with 14, they would spit it out. I don't know what they would do with it. Use it for household cleaning or something. It would just be awful. So, and similarly, like if you think of a conductor, you know, with an orchestra, and say 100-piece orchestra, that conductor is so tuned in, has such a relationship. He can hear that one violin out of, you know, 20 of them is slightly out of tune. Nobody else would hear that. So developing breath awareness, which I used to think was the boring part, is actually the juicy part. And you can't really explain that to people. It's only it's a sense experience, and that's the artistry. And it's like learning a dance move. You know, I could show you to do a few, I don't know, well, I couldn't because I don't know ballroom dance, but you get the drift. It show you to do a few dance moves, and you'll learn it and you'll do it, but to do it with real grace and, you know, to really get the enjoyment. You know, it's like if you watch Strictly Come Dancing, you see how these people, you know, progress. So they're in it. You see by the end, they're like, you know, Bill Bailey. You know, how light was he on his feet? You know, that's the artistry. And it's the same with the breath. You know, learning and enjoying and savouring, making it really delicious, building that relationship, which becomes an inner experience, which is so important right now when we can't travel out. You know, a lot of us like to travel and do travel for our work, but using the breath, we can really have these incredible opening and expansive experiences, you know.
Oh, I love that. I think that's so important because, again, we tend to think of breath practice or breath work as being, you can think of it as mechanical. So, oh, how do I breathe, or how should I breathe? And it's the same with movement. It's like doing, oh, right, I'll do these moves. But I really like the way, that's a really good way of explaining that. You really made me feel that in terms of the movement. It has to come, it's all that woolly thing where you think, oh, it has to come from within. But it really does, and it does make a big difference. You can feel the difference. So that awareness.
It does. You know, our bodies have that innate intelligence. And there's a guy I always talk. You'll laugh because I always talk about this guy, Professor Peter Llichfield. You know, he's professor of behavioural scientists, and he's an Arctic explorer. He's an absolute amazing guy. You know, a complete authority on breathwork, and his take on it all, you know, is, you know, breath is a behaviour as well, and it's learned. And the best thing we can actually do is to get out of our own way, and to, you know, manipulating the breath is very, very useful in certain circumstances, but the overall aim is really to be allowing your body to breathe in a way that it knows to benefit you. And it's actually our behaviours and our habits and our triggers that get in the way of that. And he's all about allow your body, you know, allow the chemoreceptors in your brain to reset to tolerate that CO2, you know, rather than your anxiety making you breathe, you know, your sympathetic, kind of chronic sympathetic reactions getting you to overbreathe. And really it's not necessary because it's a perceived threat and not a real one, you know. So it's allowing your body really to breathe. It's super important.
Love it. Love it. Harp, how did you get into the harp then? So presumably when you started off singer-songwriting, you mentioned guitar, and you mentioned obviously singing and guitar. So I presume you weren't harping around the world.
No. I always wanted to, since I was a child. You know, I grew up in Scotland, and my earliest memory is really being about 7 years old, and I had this idea that I would look like Farrah Fawcett. You know, Charlie's Angels was a big thing at the time, and I was like, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to, not quite Farrah Fawcett, but, you know, not far off, no. So I was going to look like Farrah Fawcett, and I had this image of me playing the harp, and I don't know where it came from. I must have seen somebody or something, and I just never did it. And then it came an early in my 20s, I was up and out at Hebrides and the Isle of Lewis, and I was gifted a course by my mum and brother. I was very stressed at work at the time. Gifted a week learning harp with one of the top women in Scotland. Can't remember her name now. And she was amazing. I started playing the harp, and I thought, right, I'm going to get a harp. And I came back down, didn't get a harp. Time went on. And just before my 40th, I must have been about 39, 38, can't quite remember now. I had this overwhelming desire one evening, just came over me to, like, I really have to play the harp. I just need to go and get a harp. The time is now. I just have to do this. And so off me and my boyfriend went down to Totnes, where I hired one. You know, I was too poor to buy one at the time, and I was even really too poor to hire one, but I figured that I would eat less and play lots of harp. It'd be the harp diet, so I could afford this to pay this harp off, which I did. And it was, I think, losing my voice or having problems with my voice really pushed me into finding another way of expressing myself that was musical. And going back, you know, at the moment, I really feel like somehow the key is going back to the things you really wanted to do as a kid, kind of, I don't know, before your ego develops, or before you kind of have right or wrong, or what's cool and what's not cool, what your little heart really enjoys. Was it drawing? Was it wanting to play the harp? Was it horse riding? I don't know, you know. And I just went back to that and started playing by ear, and then I found my first teacher online, actually, in San Francisco, and this woman is incredible, and she has the most, she looks like a mermaid, this woman. And she has a PhD in harp music, world harp music. She was a classical pianist, and she taught me about improvisation, because, as we'll probably cover, I don't read music. Okay, so I'm like one of, you know, I don't know many musicians, any harpists, that don't read music. So I am what you call an improvisational harpist. So I do it very much by sound, you know. I make sounds, you know, rather than making music sounds very, a bit scary, I think, to some people, you know. And anybody I meet, I mean, if you guys were here, I would literally have every single one of you get on this harp, and I would give you a speed harp lesson for like a couple of minutes. I'll be like, no, yeah, I can see, like, Rachel.
Shouldn't have said that. We're booked in.
We're booked in. Seriously, because I'm like, I can get people playing the harp, because you see everyone looking terrified. Oh no, I don't do music. I can't play music. Oh no, I'm not musical. Rubbish. Get down. You've got some fingers, and we can make some beautiful sounds. And it's incredible. And you see people light up, because a lot of us have these kind of music wounds, I think, you know. Either been told that you've got an awful voice as a kid, or pipe down, you sound horrible in the choir, said the music teacher. That's it, wounded, never going to sing again. Or you're not musical, you're, you know, you're not artistic. We've all been told these things, perhaps at an early age. And so we have these stories, you know. I used to, anybody put a drum near me, I used to get very angry. It was really weird. I don't know what I was like, what, come play drum. No, but I was going to look stupid or something. I was very, very touchy, and I went around Ireland, everybody was trying to get me to play drums and bran. I was like, no, don't do that. And eventually I embraced it, and a friend came round and taught me how to play kit drum. This is ages ago, I can't do it anymore. But I really got into it. And it was about building these new pathways in your brain, just knowing that you are literally building block by block new pathways, learning a new thing. Just keep doing it, you know, and having beginner's mind is so important when we approach something new. And as adults, and especially in this culture, we get embarrassed. We all want to be experts. We don't want to talk about anything, do anything, unless we're really good at it. Yeah. You know, I'm teaching my housemate to play the guitar, and he goes, oh, well, I'm just going to be rubbish. I said, enjoy being rubbish. And I said, it's not about perfection, it's about connection, right? That's what it's about. Enjoy being rubbish. Enjoy just playing. Enjoy that one chord. Just enjoy. Wow, you're making a sound. You've never done that before. One chord. You know, you're doing A. Awesome. How does that A sound? You know, what does A minor sound? Slightly sadder. You know, getting people to embody that and experience and love music, because that's why we listen to it, experience it, or want to do it. So
I think it's fascinating, like you say, the blocks that the barriers we put up that we most probably don't realize that do go back to childhood or whatever, and not necessarily negative or bad things, but just those little things. Like I'm thinking, working with runners, oh, I'm not a runner, or I can't run, or
I'm not sporty.
Not fast. Yeah. I'm not sporty. I was never sporty at school. And it is just, it's almost like that. I like that, what you said about beginner's mind, because it is just let go of those barriers and just explore. And I think that's so important, what you say about it's not about being perfect, because nobody's ever going to be perfect. If we keep just looking for the enjoyment of when we get to being perfect, we're never going to get there. So no, I love that, Tracy.
It doesn't matter how experienced you are, you know, all the you know, the top musicians that I've, you know, run into over the course of my careers, you know, some amazing top-notch people that have been going for years and years, that are in their 70s, accomplished musicians, and they're all of them have got imposter syndrome. All of them like, I don't know enough. Oh God, I haven't learned enough. Oh, you know, oh, I'm not very good at playing this. And you're like you're world class. But I think it's quite universal. We all have these little demons.
Yeah.
And it's about recognising and putting them in a demon pot, screwing a lid and going, right, over there, we've all got them, that's cool. Let's just acknowledge that. Right. And then let's get on with the enjoyment, and don't let that stop us developing our love for things.
Excellent. It might be a good point actually to open up if anybody's got any questions. So you can either pop them in the chat box, or if you want to hit the reaction and put your little hand up, and then you can, or just unmute yourself, because we haven't got loads of people here. But if you've got any questions before we have some practice, I'm looking forward to this. I have done this before, because Tracy's done it for another group when we were doing the Oxygen Advantage instructor training. And we had a group session because we couldn't do the March training, last September training. So we were doing it in a group. So we had a nice group, and we have done this before. So I know what to expect, but you're in for a really good session. Any questions before we have a little practice? I'm sure.
Let's see Rachel's hand.
Oh, why can't I? Oh yeah, I can see that. So Rachel.
Hello, I just want to know where you live, so when I come back to the UK, I can come for my...
You are more than welcome. I'm in Brighton.
Oh, excellent. I'll be going back to Portsmouth when I get back. So
brilliant. Drop on in. Seriously, I love it. I love showing people.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks. That's my only question.
That's fine. That's the most important question, really, because we're all going to be down there.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Thanks, Rachel. The Breathing Festival, by the way, that you mentioned, I'll put a link. I'll send a link to that. I've signed up for that as well. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
Oh.
That's going to be a brilliant. It's a weekend, isn't it? Is it 2 weekends? I think it's 2 weekends.
I can't remember, but there really are the top people from all sorts of different backgrounds of breath, and all, you know, I mean, there's thousands of techniques and thousands, you know, and it's just finding the people that you know, but you know, all the top people, the people that really know their stuff, and you will glean such gold from that. And I think tickets start at like $11 or something.
Yeah, it's a nice way of doing it, because I think it's like $11, $55, or you can, so they're saying if you get exactly the same, and then I think there's a VIP if you want to pay extra, but it's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah, and you can already see there's a few introductions to masterclasses on the website. There's already some amazing talks.
Yeah,
amazing, incredible talks, you know, again bridging, you know, breathwork as a science and an art, because it's absolutely both.
Yeah, I'll put a link to that when I send you the playback. Any other questions? Everybody's eager for their practice. Should we go for a little practice? Yeah, Tracy.
Awesome. So let me just say before I get over to the harp, so we're going to have 5-10 minutes. I'm not going to do a mega long, I love the longer ones, but we're just going to do a bit of a shorter one today, if I can make it that short. I just want you all to make sure you're somewhere comfortable, you know, and that nobody's going to suddenly come in behind you and, you know, dinner's ready or anything like that. So, you know, dogs jumping, or the rest of my dog's upstairs. So just somewhere nice and comfortable, and, you know, sitting upright or lying down, whatever you prefer. I think once I'm just going to change over my microphone. If you need to make it a little bit louder, then please just adjust on your computer as is good for you. Okay. And I shall see you all on the other side. I just swap my mic. Give us a little thumbs up, Gray, if you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I can hear everybody here okay.
Wonderful. So I invite you just to close your eyes, and we'll go on a journey together. A journey where we'll explore our breath, where we'll take control of our nervous system and teach it how to relax. So just sitting comfortably, feeling like a string is just pulling your head up from the top nice and gently. And your hands are resting on your lap. And now turn your attention to your breath. And just be aware of the temperature of your breath as you inhale through the nose or mouth. Notice, is it warm or is it cool? Notice the feeling of the breath as it softens and relaxes you. Just allowing that breath to soften and relax, letting go and just allowing your breath. So no doing here, we're not doing any breath yet, and no conscious breathing yet, just be curious. Allow your breath to do as it pleases. And now bring your attention to the end of the exhale. And just hone in on that tiny, delicious moment. Can you find it? Where the inhale turns into the exhale. And then the exhale turns into the inhale. Perhaps there's a little pause at the end of your inhale. Perhaps there's a little pause, a longer pause, at the end of your exhale. So just notice and allow. do an exhale before we do some cadence breathing. Just follow the heart. So now inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Some nice relaxed breathing, following the heart, gentle, light and low. Where else can you let go of? Can you let go of tension in your jaw? Can you let go of tension in your thighs? Use your breath. And for our last few breaths, I invite you to have what's called an inner smile. See if you can smile inside of yourself. Think about someone or something that gives you joy. A person, a pet, child, a grandchild. Just smile to yourself as you breathe in nice and slow and low. Stay with your breath. Stay with that feeling of joy, of gratitude, just for a few more moments. And slowly, slowly, perhaps taking a nice sigh of relief if that feels good to you, into the nose and out through the mouth, and just noting quick body scan. What's the quality of your thoughts? How does your body feel? How is your heart rate? How is the sense of self? Just for yourself, what is one word that would sum up how you feel right now? And just carry that with you for the rest of the day, that beautiful place of calm or joy. Thank you.
Excellent. I think that set us all up for the weekend there. Ah, so nice. The cadence breathing. I love the particularly the cadence breathing when you get into the rhythm, because the sound really helps to lose that feeling of trying to breathe in a particular rhythm, because you actually got the rhythm there. So that's excellent. Thank you, Tracy. That was beautiful. I think Sheila had a hand up there. Sheila, were you going to ask a question?
Oh, can't hear.
We've got to unmute.
Yeah. No, I wasn't going to ask a question. It was me clapping. Thank you so much. That's the second time that I've had the absolute delight of hearing Tracy do this. I was in that other group that Gray referred to earlier. And it's just wonderful the way you take us down into a state of calm. And I think we will remember that for the rest of the day. It's beautiful. Thank you, Tracy.
Oh, thank you, Sheila.
Rest of the year, hopefully. Any other questions or any comments or any thoughts? So you're teaching the oxygen advantage now. How are you getting on with that?
I am. It's great, and I'm weaving it in. I'm kind of, which was really great. You know, Gray was my mentor through this process and really helped me to have the confidence to integrate what I already knew from my, previous breathwork studies and qualifications in with the oxygen advantage in a way that kind of made it my own. So teaching it and doing some of the exercises with the harp as well. So really, making it quite kind of multimedia, multi-creative, and going with the individual. I love working with groups, but I really love creating a bespoke program, and sometimes it's oxygen advantage, sometimes it can be other stuff, whatever that individual needs for, the breath and for the kind of to benefit them at that time. And it can be a mixture of the oxygen advantage and other ways to breathe and tune into yourself and improve whatever it is, focus, concentration, performance, sporting performance. So but it's super powerful stuff, and it's great to put it with music, which I don't think has been done before with the oxygen advantage. So
I'm aware of. No. If people want to get hold of you, Tracy, what's the best? I know you've got a website. What's your website?
I have. It's tracyjanesullivanharp.com. You can Google me. Google. Tracy Janes. Yeah, you'll find me. Or Harp Yoga, you can put in. I'll come up, because that was my. I was a well-being harpist for yoga classes, so improvising. You know the old days when we all used to get together.
When we used to all get together in real life.
Remember the old days, real life, and used to play for classes. I mean, I'm be developing it for online now, but the breathwork's very much taken over. But please, there's a contact form on there. Get in touch. I'm on Instagram. I'm not really on Facebook very much. You just can't do it all, can you?
No.
You got to live a bit. You can't
exactly.
all social media. I just want to do it. Can't be bothered, But just get in touch. I'm always, if you want to have a chat or a call, just get in touch, and I'm really happy to chat with people and about what I do or how I could help anybody, or just a chat. Yeah.
Excellent.
And thank you everybody for coming, and such short notice. Really appreciate it. It's been.
Well, thank you for coming at such short. It was easy for us to turn up at short notice. You had to do. Brilliant. Really, thanks ever so much, Tracy. I really appreciate that, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. Next week, Barbara will be here. Hopefully, we'll have Barbara's session. Yay. So you don't need to register for that. I'll just keep those who have registered, you'll just get reminder emails. So hopefully you can all make next week's session. And also I want to do more of these, because I think it's really good to get to know people. I know Sheila's maybe going to do one for me. But if anybody's got any thoughts of what they want, who they want to talk to, what sort of topics you want covering, or if you want to do one with me, then just get in contact with me and let me know, because I think it's good to, as you say, we can't get together in person at the minute, but we can create a community and share amongst ourselves on Zoom, and it works, as we've just seen there. So
Gray, could I just say one thing which I didn't say, which is really important?
You can.
I'm very passionate about. If there's anybody on this call that has anything in them, like when they're watching me play the harp, going, "Oh, wish I could play an instrument," or "Oh, I've always wanted to play the harp," do it. No excuses. I met a woman who was 84. She started playing the harp when she was 80. Her husband died. She sold his stamp collection. She bought herself a harp. She lived in San Francisco, and honestly, she was out busking and playing in bookstores and stuff. She got people to carry it for her there, obviously, but she was amazing. And her only regret when she died was that she hadn't spent longer on the harp. You got a brain, you got fingers. I really encourage you. You don't need to read music to play an instrument. You can if you want. Just do it. Just get beyond those stories. I feel very passionate about this. Start playing with whatever instrument you want to do. Do it now. Phone me up. I will champion you to do it. And please, I really encourage you, because it's one of the best things you can ever do in your life. And especially in lockdown and stuff, it's a perfect time. So do it. That's what I wanted to say.
It's a brilliant way to end the session on. Thanks ever so much, Tracy. Thanks everyone for joining in, and I will see you all soon. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye bye. Bye bye.